We know you have a lot of choices when it comes to your education. It's time to make Thomas Nelson your first choice. We believe learning should be personalized to fit your needs. 50 years ago, we opened our doors to provide Peninsula residents access to a high-quality education. Today, Thomas Nelson continues that tradition and offers an education that is personal, affordable, flexible, and local. Make Thomas Nelson your first choice. Success. It's closer than you think. Visit us at tncc.edu.
What is up, guys? I'm Dusty Grant, the host of the DG and Friends podcast. I'm excited to take this ride with you as I get to know interesting folks from all walks of life and pick their brains about their journey. I'd like to sincerely thank you for tuning in. DG and Friends starts now. What is up, everybody? Twitch TV, Wednesday night, episode 3, DG and Friends. I am super excited to be joined by my friend Adam Capps. We've never actually had a conversation in real life, so this is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to hear what Adam has to say tonight. He's a guy that I've always noticed and an artist that I've respected. He's got a pretty good hustle, and I know he's got an interesting story too. If you're watching on Twitch right now, please follow. Other than that, I'm not going to get too sales pitchy here. I've got a guest, Adam Capps. How you doing this evening, brother?
Good, man. Hey, and the respect is mutual. I tell my buddies, I tell my wife all the time that, I work hard. This is what I've done for a living for the last 5 years. But I look at your, promotion and everything you've been doing for yourself, and I'm blown away by, you came on the spotlight and just blew up around here so quickly, and that was all from you're working your ass off all the time. So like I said, it's mutual respect.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's been this whole situation has been weird, and I know you're a guy that gigs a ton. I was gigging about 40 to 50 shows a year, but also working a full-time job, so it was a pretty tough grind for me. But you were playing 2-3 shows a week, 4 shows a week sometimes. So this whole thing, this whole platform, this show, all the technology, all the stuff that I've been learning is just a result of not being on the road, not being able to do anything, not being able to play shows. How many shows did you have to cancel? Do you know?
Oh man, it's like, if you look at my website, it's just, everything from March till now is, 80% of it's just canceled. A lot of my smaller, honky tonk stuff, which is, I made my living at honky tonk, so I love playing there. But any big band stuff was canceled.
So as a guy that makes a living doing that, as a guy that makes a living doing that, how's that? How are you getting by now?
So, well, we got time, so I'm going to start from the beginning.
Absolutely, hell yeah! Tell us about the journey, man, for sure.
So, I was a teacher for 4 years. I taught Spanish. I was a Spanish teacher. And so if you go way back, I actually traveled to Costa Rica, lived in Costa Rica for a while. And that's kind of where I started speaking Spanish, went to college for it, became a teacher, and did that for 4 years. And the music was kind of a side hustle. And then towards the end of my last year of teaching, I started making more money playing music than I did as a teacher. And I had full support of my boss, my principal. I remember walking into his office, and it was probably December, January, February, whatever it was. And I told him, I'm going to quit and do music full time. And so I did that. I sold my house. I sold everything that I had, moved into my parents' barn so I could pay for my first album down in Nashville. And I did all that just because I didn't know if I would have the money. And it turns out it worked out great. I started making good money good money, as much as I did as a teacher.
Right.
And so I did that for the last 5 years. And then COVID reared its ugly head. And I luckily kept my teaching license up to date. So I'm actually back to being Mr. Capps this year.
Really? Are you, is the school that you're teaching at online only, or or are you actually like in school teaching? Cause I know like my daughter is not even, my daughter's not even going at all hardly. She goes, I think she's been going like every other day or something. It's I can't even keep track now.
Yeah. So just 2 weeks ago, we went full remote. So I'm at home every day. I'm on my computer just like this every day.
So this is nothing new for you. I'm not putting you in an uncomfortable spot here.
Yeah. Now I will say this, what's the name of this? The Discord. Discord was new. I'm used to Google Hangouts and Zoom.
Yeah, when you get into the Discord is an interesting beast because you can like create your own server. So where you are at in my Discord server right now, I can like basically automatically notify people that are on this server when I have a new tweet, when I'm going live, blah, 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 blah. I have these bots running, which I didn't change for this show, which I'm going to have to do right now while we're on the fly because I am still new at this, Adam. Still new at this.
This is great. I'm perfectly fine. I listen to a lot of podcasts.
Okay.
And, so my biggest one, I love listening to Joe Rogan. I'm a big Joe Rogan fan. And he just did a podcast with Steven Ranella, who's a hunter. I love to hunt. So they did a podcast and they were talking about podcasts. And I was telling my wife, I was like, dude, I would love to do a damn podcast. I think it'd be fun just to sit back and bullshit with people and talk about it. So I'm glad you started doing this. And I hope it all goes great. I'll share the hell out of it as soon as we're done here. And this platform is new for me. I know there's been a lot of people that are on Twitch before me and all that, and this is definitely not a new idea, but it's certainly new for me. So I had to learn the platform. I had to learn a new software, broadcasting, and it took me a minute to get to where I am now. But now I figured out a way to pretty much, upload the thing on the back end, clean up the audio, make things sound good. I've started recording my own voiceover intro. I've just gone down a wormhole because I've just found myself with so much more free time, and I like to be busy, and I'm like always wanting to do something. I'm like, I guess I'm going to learn how to fuck it. I'm going to start a podcast and here we sit, which is awesome. Yep. And that's exactly, I think that's the mentality you have to be a musician or any entrepreneur is, if you can't do it yourself, then who the fuck's going to do it?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's how it was for when I started doing music. I was looking around, calling places. People are like, oh, I'll be your booking agent, and then they don't do anything for you. The only person that's going to work hard for you is you.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way by trying to book other people, by doing, even down in Nashville when I had people, redo my songs and stuff. They didn't do it the way I wanted them to. So I learned the hard way that, if you want to get it right, do it yourself. I know it's an old adage, but I mean, it's so true, especially when it comes to something you're so personal about with your music. I mean, I ended up doing my own music videos, ended up doing my own music production and everything just because I trusted myself and I didn't trust other people.
That's a perfect seg because that's something I wanted to ask you kind of out of the gates here once we kind of got your journey kind of laid out so people kind of know your story. But like, are you doing everything yourself pretty much? Like, do you write all the music, you record yourselves, or you guys are completely 100% independent?
Yeah. And so there's two different ways to look at music. One way is you want to make it big. And then the other way is you just want to make it and make some money and play some freaking music. So I started off, I wanted to make it in music. So that's why I did the Nashville thing. And what I learned real quick is that takes money. Lots of money. Dude, I could sit here and talk to you forever about the bullshit that goes on in Nashville in this music industry. I mean, I've personally met people that paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 just to open for a major artist.
Oh yeah.
And, we got the shaft because we were supposed to be the opener, but we weren't willing to pay somebody to do it. So I gave up on that. And that's when I decided to start playing music for the people that want to hear it at bars, honky tonks, and smaller music venues. And I mean, that's the way I ended up going. And that's when I changed my outlook on things. So we started we're not paying Nashville people. We're going to pay these local regional guys to do our music production. We're going to pay local and regional, radio promoters. So that's the way I look at it now is, keep it small, keep it simple. I don't have $100,000.
No. And I experienced it when I was doing, rock and metal when I was in bands and some of the stuff I started learning about how the radio situation works and all that type of stuff. And it's just, I mean, you hear about how it works, and you have to pay a certain guy just to pitch your music to somebody because they won't even listen to you unless you're getting, and you're like, isn't it about writing good music? And it's like, well, it is, but it also helps to have $75,000 for a radio push, and that kind of stuff. And it's like, if you're a smaller band, like on the fringe, and you're trying to play that game, that monster will just eat you alive, because you can't spend enough money to compete with Papa Roach on active rock radio. You can't spend enough money to compete with those guys at that level. And it's just, it blows my mind. Like, you have to put it in perspective. And that's something that's happened for me. I think at first I had delusions of grandeur where I was like, oh yeah, baby, I'm going to get big. I'm going to make $1 million. I'm going to be famous. And it's like, no, I've kind of accepted it for what it is now. It's like, I love to go out and play music and see how far I can take it. But I haven't been able to do it full time like you were. So, I mean, that's something that I definitely admire about you, is like having the stones to just kind of be like, all right, I'm going to take a run at this. And the shit you learned by putting yourself in that uncomfortable position probably makes you it's the reason you're successful now. And I think a lot of guys, like, I'm finding a lot of people contacting me trying to ask me for shortcuts on stuff. And I'm like, you have to learn this the freaking hard way, man. Can you show me how to craft a booking email? I can, but you need to send 50 of them and know what's going to work and what's not, and learn to read people. And you've got to make it work for you. That's something that I always find myself saying when we have these kind of conversations, is like, what works for me is probably not going to work for Adam Capps. What works for Adam Capps is probably not going to work for me. I mean, there's similarities, but at the same time, you're doing it for a living, man. I mean, you have to play 4 or 5 gigs a week, and I get it. I mean, that's how you freaking pay the bills, is the live shows. I mean, because I know you're not cashing big royalty checks from Spotify.
No, that's another thing that I don't think people realize is, even the big guys, man, unless you're a monster artist, you're not making a fortune on the music you're selling, because they're the biggest just facade in the entire world is Spotify and streaming music. We're making a 16th of a penny every time that music's played. So even the big guys, they're not making a fortune on that. You make money from playing shows. And so I learned that early on, thinking that if I put together a great album down in Asheville and pay, thousands of dollars to get this out there, maybe I'm going to make it and I'll make money. Like I said, I learned the hard way. That doesn't work. So what I learned was, you got to play shows. And over the past 5 years, I've averaged 120 shows a year. The most I did was 2 years ago. I hit 147 shows in 1 year, and that's how you make money if you want to make it. And when I say make money, I'm not saying you're going to be making a fortune, but you're going to make a living. Like I said, better than a teacher.
So are the other guys in your band? I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. Are the other guys in your band full-time musicians as well?
They are not. They all have their part-time jobs. That's
gotcha.
I've kept them because I pay them well. If I want them to be 4 hours away from home on a Friday night, they know they're going to make better money than if they were going to stay at their job for that extra 2-3 hours.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, they love it. I mean, they probably love it. What's up, Matt? How you doing, buddy? And we actually had a question for you that I missed out on when we first came in here, because I was tinkering around with some controls because I'm an amateur. Who's your biggest inspiration? I mean, I know you're a country rock artist. What kind of music did you listen to? What made you want to get into music and make the type of music that you make?
This is a long question for me.
That's good.
My family all grew up playing music. The banjo behind me is actually my father-in-law's grandpa's banjo. It was built in 1917. So music goes a long way in my family and my wife's family. So I grew up playing guitar. My mom played guitar. She was in a Christian band. And so I started playing guitar. I ran track in college and I played football. When I tore my ACL, I started playing a lot more music because I couldn't do anything else.
It's a year of jamming.
And then I started, but I never even listened to country. I hated country music. And I'm not saying this just because I know you're a rock artist. I love rock and roll. I love 90s rock. I love 3 Days Grace. I love Disturbed. I love Stone Sour. I mean, Seven Dust. These are my bands. This is what I still listen to all the time. So when it came to country music, what I would say my inspiration was definitely people like Eric Church and Kip Moore. And not because they're, these mega stars, but because they actually play rock music, man. They're rock music who didn't quite fold into that rock genre at the time,
Right.
but they don't fold into a country genre either. They found that middle place that I think we fall into, more of that, country rock kind of thing.
Yeah, there's definitely a more rock and roll feel to it, and it's weird because I was the same way. Like
This holiday at T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
Cool. So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right. The iPhone 12 on us on every plan on America's largest 5G network. It's time to holiday on with T-Mobile.
With 30 monthly bill credits plus tax. If you cancel credit, stop, and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
My biggest influences are grunge influences for sure, from the the 90s era and all that type of thing. But lately I've been finding myself in about the last, I don't know, 5 to 7 years, really like latching on to country music. I've been listening to a lot of new artists like Sturgill Simpson, listening to artists like Cody Jinks, Whitey Morgan, Ward Davis, Sonny Sweeney, and some of this stuff. And then my dad gets in my car and he's like, "Are you listening to Waylon Jennings?" I'm like, "Yeah, who knew?" He's like, "Wow, that's last time I got in your car, I couldn't even make out what anybody was saying. It was like Slayer probably or something like that." But as I've gotten older, I guess I'm a lot less of a music snob these days. Like I give other genres a lot of a chance, and I acknowledge even though pop music most generally is not my cup of tea, I acknowledge that they're good at what they do. I think the longer you play music, the more you have to, I guess, quit being such a snob about it.
Oh, hell yeah, man. And you put it perfectly. I have a wide variety of music to listen to, and I have respect for the artists that put out music that they want to play and they want to hear.
Yeah.
So to answer your question earlier, my number one inspiration is Kip Moore. So Kip Moore, he has said it so many times in interviews that he plays the music that his fans want to hear and that he wants to hear. He's never going to conform to what the industry wants him to put out. And that's why he's not a megastar, is because he's not going to put out the music that country radio wants. Because what country radio wants is that bullshit hip hop, stuff that's being put out there. And so that's what I respect, is the people that do what they want to do and play what they want to play. And that's why I love people like Kip Moore, so Blackberry Smoke. These guys are badass. 1,000 Horses, they're a great Southern rock band. Whiskey Myers is one of my favorite bands around right now.
Then those are all those are
country.
Definitely. I hear Whiskey Myers, they start to mix him in, if I'm listening to a Whitey Morgan playlist or something like that, they'll start to mix some of that more Southern rock influence stuff. But it seems like there's not much of a spot on radio for the Southern rock genre. And I thought that was such a popular genre all the time. And I never even really thought about it until this conversation right now. But there's nowhere to go to hear that type of music, unless you're on Spotify on a playlist on somebody that plays that genre of music. I wonder why that is. Is there just not a lot of bands doing it these days, or?
I don't get it either. And I don't want to get political about it. It's not even political. It's musically political.
Of course. Yeah. Everything's political.
That's not what radio wants to hear. And so they're not going to play it. And it's because, can you imagine Whiskey Myers coming out and, saying who they're going to support in an election? It's not going to happen, because they don't give a shit. What they care about is music.
Yeah.
And society doesn't want to see that. Society wants people that are going to get out, stand up, and get all dramatic about shit. And, Cody Jinks. Can you imagine Cody Jinks getting on and saying who he supports for? Fuck no, ain't going to happen.
No, and it's such a weird, I don't know, I feel like when you get to a certain level of stardom, and some of these musicians, I mean, it's hard for me to say, because how do I know? How do I know what it feels like to get to a level like that? I'm never going to know what it feels like, how that might change you. Some of these people, you're like, is that even a real person? is that guy in the bedazzled jeans and boots and the fucking fake ass poser pearl snap and like, is this real life right now? Is this what we're watching? And we're calling, these are the Country Music Awards, and we're calling this country music? Like, I'm not sure. It feels like the lines of country and pop are super blurred now.
Can you imagine what Johnny Cash, what Burl Haggard, and these guys are thinking? Ugh.
Just rolling over in their graves. I've heard some of that. What do they call it? Like hip hop or tractor rap or whatever they want, or whatever they call that genre of music where they're like rapping about being in a truck with beer, and you're just like, what the fuck is this? It just blows. I'm like,
I've been to a couple of those. I went and saw Colt Ford with what is it, Hillbilly Militia or something like that, and they're that country rap. It's a whole different, not even type of music, but a whole different crowd. The people.
So what are they, like juggalos?
No, they're the ones that all, like, the guys that drive the lifted trucks with the
monster hat
on there.
Yeah,
that is who goes to those concerts.
5'4", 230 pounds, American Fighter shirt, monster, flat bill, Oakleys, the white ones, the rectangular ones, and a huge Chevy Silverado with a bunch of stickers, and probably a nutsack hanging from the trail hitch.
Exactly.
So how do you end up at a concert like that? Now I got to put you on the spot.
Okay, this is why. So the Cotillion, I love going to concerts. And
Me too.
I've gone to so many different types of concerts, so many different genres of concerts. And I remember when Colt Ford came, I liked Colt Ford because he actually put out some songs that I like. He was the original like country rapper, and his stuff wasn't as messed up as it is today. So we all went and saw him, and the band that opened for him just was insane. So that's how I ended up there. We used to go to Cotillion concerts all the time because, hell, you can go to one for, there were sometimes tickets for $10-15 and we'd all go there all the time.
You get shows at the Cotillion, right? You've played some shows at the Cotillion. That picture that I shared last night is the Cotillion, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one where you're over the
Cotillion. Yeah.
So
do you Cotillion several times.
Yeah, I played there when I was a metal band. I've never been able to get in there as a solo artist because I'm a nobody, but I don't know how I don't know how the Cotillion and those venues this size right now are making it. Have you heard? Are they still having events there privately or anything like that? Or how are those types of continuing to make it? Do you know anything about that?
So I know they got a grant, but I know it wasn't much.
Right.
The music and entertainment industry, we aren't getting shit. Like my business was music, and I haven't gotten anything. And so the music industry is just thrown to the wayside. I did talk to Adam Hartke, is the guy Adam and Alex. They're the ones that kind of run everything at the Cotillion and the Wave. And,
right.
I talked to Adam a little bit, and he said it's rough, man. Yeah, I guess stages are going to start closing if people don't start, support. Or I say people, if the government doesn't start helping out. And I don't think people realize what music does for society. And I think it's going to be a major fallout for people if they can't see their music, if they can't see the artist. And I'm not saying that just because I'm an artist. I'm saying that as somebody that loves music, man. It needs to happen. They need to help these places out.
Well, there's things that happen, like you create a scene on these venues where up and comers have a chance to get on the stage. You know what I mean? The Elbow Room in Wichita just closed. That's a heartbreaker for me. I had excuse me. I had my release parties at that place. Like I have a lot of memories there. The Elbow Room gave me my opportunities before anybody knew who I was, and Kenny gave me a place to play, and then that place closes. Where are these up and comers going to go to play and develop this scene and like feed into the talent in the scene and to keep things fresh and new? Like, where is everybody going to play? How are we all going to live stream? It seems like that. It seems like this type of situation is trending to be more and more acceptable, and people are just interacting on their phones. And I don't think there's any way, no matter how cool we make this production or this experience online, there's no way to substitute for a live show. But you can't. How can we play a live show? You can't play live shows right now. You get burned on them. Like I had to cancel, I think, around 20 shows, and I don't know. I don't know how that compares to how many shows you cancel. But for me, 20 was a shitload. And I was like, man, I had a bunch of merch here, CDs, a new single that I was trying to push. I'm like, I got a fucking basement full of merch, and I just got done fire sailing a bunch of it, at way less than I would have made had I been at a venue pushing merch and doing that type of stuff. And it's like, when are they going to let us go play again? And if they're not going to let us go play again, what are they going to do to support these businesses? Because like the Elbow Room is no less legit of a business than Walmart. And I mean, it seems like Walmart's a goddamn free for all. You can fist fight over a fucking flat screen in that place any day of the week because there's 600 people in there. It's this crazy thing. And then they let them open. Well, their costs are still the same, but they have to work at half capacity. So they can't sell as much booze. They can't pay the acts as much. And it's like it trickles down to everybody. It's just this bullshit thing. And like, I'm fucking sick of it. I want to start booking next year. I want to start getting rolling. I want to make some plans and go. And I just feel like we just keep dragging this thing out. And, I'm getting a little political now, but that tends to happen when you start talking about this stuff, man. It just does, because we're both musicians and it's directly affected your life, as you said earlier in the interview. So it's like, what are we going to do? Like, why is what you do for a living, Adam? Like you took this chance. You built this from the ground up, blood, sweat, and tears. It's yours. It's your pride and joy. Why is that not a viable business for them to give a grant to? I mean, they gave grants to all types of other businesses that were local and small and independent. I mean, you're a legitimate business that makes a living playing live music. So why aren't you being subsidized? Because they've taken your livelihood from you.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir, dude. And I'm not saying this because my little side hustle was affected. I'm saying this because my livelihood completely ended in March. Like I had to quit my job. I had to completely stop my business almost and take another job. So I'm one of those people that company went under. And if you want to look at it that way,
right.
I couldn't do it anymore. And it happened at the absolute worst time. I make more money in the months of May, June, July, and August than I do the entire rest of the year. I mean, country artists, fairs, festivals, and rodeos. That is where I make my money. And they shut me down. And not because, I don't want to get I don't want to piss people off. So I'm going to.
No, you can piss people off. That's the beauty of this thing. You know what? I don't have a manager. I don't have a program director. I don't have a producer. I don't have anything. Like you can, like I told you before we started the show, man, you can fire off about anything. And if anybody in the chat doesn't like what you're saying, I'll just block their asses out of here and we just move on.
No, better yet, you tell me what they're saying. That's what I love. That's the other thing that's wrong with today is like, if somebody wants to complain or say something bad about you, it's so easy to unfriend them. It's so easy to block them instead of talking to them there is no face to face anymore. But instead of confronting people with, their problems, what they want to say about something, we just delete them or unfriend them or something, which is okay because you're avoiding a conversation, which is even the ultimate problem because then people are learning you can't deal with issues the way it needs to be dealt with. You can't talk to somebody about their issues because we can't have different beliefs without, stabbing each other. It's ridiculous. So God forbid somebody has a different political view than you. And that's, I think the ultimate issue, what's wrong in today's society is people cannot have, faltering views. You can't have somebody thinks this is right. Somebody thinks this is right, because ultimately, I don't know. You could talk about it and work out your issues and people refuse to do that these days. I forgot what the original question was.
It's okay. It happens when you do this stuff, man. You're probably drinking some whiskey. I've had a few Modelo's. I was loose. I'm like, Adam's a drinker. He's got a song called The World Needs a Beer. Like I can have a beer while I talk to Adam. I don't have to worry about being a professional. But yeah, man, I fully agree with you. I've had a few run-ins with friends that have started it on social media. And I'm like, dude, you know me, I'm not a super political guy and I'm not going to get on here and spout my my vitriol at everybody all day long. I'm just not that guy, and you're kind of doing it and you're kind of pissing me off, And I told the guy on social media, I'm like, okay, haha, now that's enough. And then they keep pressing and they keep pushing. And then I actually texted the dude. I'm like, hey man, you're going to wonder why we're not friends anymore. This is why I told it. But I don't want to leave that in the air. I don't want that to be left to confusion. I want you to know, this is the reason why, because you're being a fucking dick. It's the keyboard warrior mentality that's really been happening, and it's been amplified big time over the last, since March, because everybody's sitting at home and it's just everybody's talking.
There's a meme out there. I don't remember exactly what the wording is, but it's basically, there are way too many people that can just turn off their computer when what they really need is a punch in the face.
Yeah.
And, back when, we were both old enough, we were that final generation that didn't have, social media. And
true.
I remember in high school and college that if somebody wanted to say something to me, they didn't get on Facebook and message me. They'd find me at the bar, find me at the party, and they talk shit to your face, because that's the way that it's supposed to be. Holy shit. I mean,
Check off your gift list early during Kohl's Friends and Family Sale. Plus, take an extra 25% off. Get sleepwear sets, $20.99. Ninja Foodie Indoor Grill is $199.99. And get up to 25% off Kookaburra Home. Plus, get Kohl's Cash. Plus, fast and free store pickup. Give with all your heart. Shop Kohl's and Kohl's.com. Select styles, 25% offer valid December 3rd through December 9th with promo code FAMILYSHOP. Kookaburra offers and coupons do not apply. Some exclusions apply. See store or Kohl's.com for details.
It's not every day you have to replace a water heater, more like every 10 years. The Home Depot can help with a wide selection of the latest models from Rheem and a helpful online water heater buying guide to help make choosing the right Rheem easy. From gas to electric, tankless, even smart models that can spot a leak before it happens. Water heaters have come a long way. You don't have to. Go to HomeDepot.com to find the latest Rheem water heaters and helpful answers and advice from our water heater buying guide. Only from the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Yeah, that's what I think people's problems are these days. It's so easy to complain online because you can just log off when you want to. You can't do that at a bar. You can either walk out the bar or get decked and be carried out the bar.
It's happened to me a couple of times, and like as I've gotten a little bit older, I'm not as much of a bar fighter as I once was. Like when I was in my early 20s, I was a macho asshole that didn't know anything about what he was doing, and now I kind of understand the consequences a little better as I get older, and I have kids of my own, so I should not be fighting in bars. But I've seen people at bars and that have said shit to me online or whatever, and I'm like, hey man, you had a lot to say, and I'm like, I'm just curious why you seem to want to be a fucking asshole to me, because I don't even know you and I don't know what your problem is, and they just look at you like you're speaking Japanese. I think they can't even
99%
I think they
of the time, those keyboard warriors, if you talk shit to their face, they would turn into a little mouse and scurry away.
It's most of the time what happens. And there's even weird stuff that you have, and I'm sure it happens to you too, where you're friends with someone on Facebook, or they're following you on Instagram, or you're following each other on Instagram or whatever, and you've never met them in real life, but then you see them in real life and go up and like try to introduce yourself, and they freak out, and they don't even they can't have a human interaction with you. And that I'm like, hey dude, yeah, you've seen pictures of my kids on Facebook. I mean, the least we could do is shake hands and say, hey man, what's up? We're friends on this phone shit that we use all the time. Like there is real life interaction that still exists out there in the world. And I think a lot of people are going to forget how to do it. I don't even know. Yeah, I don't even know what, I don't even know where we go, because I was hearing something today that everything's going to be shut down till May of next year.
I hope not.
I hope not.
I'm a forever positive, forever going to be a optimist here. So I'm going to say that's not going to happen. But I'm going to
hope not.
Music now. So I wrote that, you mentioned the song, The World Needs a Beer.
Yeah.
And I wrote that during that quarantine that we went through for the 2, 3, 4 months, whatever it was. And I wrote it because me and my wife were watching the news one night, and it's just people rioting, people talking about this, talking about that. And I said, holy shit, the whole damn world just needs a beer. And what I meant by that was the world needs to sit down and have a beer with one another. If you can
Yes.
sit down and bullshit with somebody at a bar, I mean, we're both musicians who make a living at a bar. Like, do you know how many honest conversations I've had sitting at a bar over a beer?
Yeah.
Thousands.
You still with me?
You're still there.
Are you still with me? I'm showing that I have a good signal. Are you still with me? Oh, I think you're back. Adam, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yep, you're back.
Can you hear me?
And we're back.
Okay.
I'll fix that in post.
Yeah,
Don't worry. I'll
but-
fix that in post. I actually won't, but we'll pretend that I will.
Can you see me?
I can see you. Everything's good. I can see and hear you. I'm completely lost now,
Okay.
though. I about had a nervous breakdown because this would have been the first time that the technology failed me, and I was feeling like maybe Big Brother was watching as we were talking shit, and they were just shutting us down because we were starting to get a little too political. Maybe the Zuck.
I'm seeing nothing. I'm seeing nothing on the cameras, so I'm just going to keep talking the way that.
You can't see anything on the camera?
No, but it's fine. I don't need to see anything as long as I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, there was a little camera button there by your name down on the bottom left in the settings. You may be able to you just turned it off. Now you're back.
Right.
Can you see me?
Nope.
Okay.
It might just be on my end.
I'm still here. I'm still here. Don't worry.
But no,
So
like I was saying, so The World Needs a Beer, like I was saying, is a song that if we just sat down and talked about our issues, man, you could solve a lot of problems. And I told that to people for so long at the bars when I would play music, and I finally put it to music. Put those words to a song, and the whole damn world needs a beer. And during all the political stuff, there's in the second verse of this song, it says, money don't make you rich, and a trailer don't make you poor. It's the size of your heart, not the size of your car, that matters to the Lord. And it says, if you're left, right, or in between, it don't matter to me, because we're a part of the greatest country in the land of the brave and the free. And I mean, I am an American to the bone, man. I love the red, white, and blue. And that song, it saddens me to see what's going on in this country. And so that's why I said, everybody sit down, have a beer, chill out, talk about our issues, talk about our problems, get along the way it needs to be. And so that's kind of what that whole song's all about.
So how was that song received? Did people seem to see the irony in it, or did you get the people like, you shouldn't be making light of the COVID situation right now? What did some people receive it well, or were people being bitches about it?
So the people that are my followers and stuff. I'm trying to get this video to work. It's not working. The people that
you
are
look
my
great.
followers, they know how I feel. They all feel the same way. Hell, I played at a bar the other night down in Southeast Kansas that I walked in and there was a Confederate flag, and up there it says, if you don't support Donald Trump, then fuck you. Like, those are the people that listen to my music. So my fans, they loved it. Not a lot
of social distancing going on at that show, Adam.
No, hell no.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't even pretend to know like the science of it. I don't even pretend to understand how it's all going to work or affect us. But at some point, I'm like, I kind of feel like we're maybe blowing this way out of proportion. I mean, I know I'm not trying to piss anyone off or like make light of the situation or anything like that. But I mean, at some point, can the world be about something else? There's still life going on. There's still a world full of opportunity out there. Let's not forget that, people. Like, people are so fucking locked into it. And like, even here, I come on and I start this show and I kind of have a goal to not talk about politics or COVID, but it comes up on every show. You know what I mean? In one way or another, it's just like the world that we live in now. And even that has me sick of it. It's like, come on, guys, we got a lot of other interesting shit to talk about besides this, but it's the world that we live in now. I mean, we have people from bands that are in the chat right now that have canceled a bunch of shows too. So they're all, I think all the people that are watching right now can identify with what you're saying. And, to be honest with you, man, like, I don't blame you if you're a little angry about it. I know Kenny's pretty angry about the elbow room and all that type of, and like, I don't blame people for being upset about it. Like, you essentially just get your livelihood pulled right out from under you. And it's like, hey, are you going to at least help me? No, fuck you. You know, I how can you not be upset by that?
And that's how we feel. I mean, people like Kenny and I mean, can you imagine? Can you imagine that bar that he started at? And like you said, you put it perfectly. He started so many. He was the perfect place for people to come play music and not care if you're going to get judged while you're up there playing or anything. And they shut him down because of nothing that he did. They shut him down because they told people you can't leave your house. And without getting too awfully political, but I mean, it's not the government's job to decide who gets to go outside and get sick or not. I mean, I don't know. I'll piss people off if I go too much further.
Well, you're okay. No, like the thing that's been driving me crazy about this whole thing is they're saying it's the people that it affects the most are the people that are the most unhealthy. So why isn't there an initiative to try to make people live a healthier lifestyle? You know, let's not.
Oh, thank God, yeah.
Let's not drive through McDonald's today. You know, let's get a salad today. Let's try to mix in a piece of fruit here and there, guys. Let's maybe go for a walk. You know, some of that type of stuff. Like, don't you think that would be better to combat something? Like, I know I'm not real worried about my immune system, man. I got 4 kids. I have 2 4-year-old boys. The amount of stuff that gets on you when you have twin 4-year-old boys in your house, it's like I'm immune to anything. You know, you could spray super AIDS on me and I'd probably be fine, you know, going to the gym, sweating, bleeding, training with people. But you take a little bit better care of yourself and you don't have to worry about getting sick like that. And like, I think a lot of people that are unhealthy are terrified to go, as as you should be. You know, but you go ahead. Sorry.
I know you're a fitness guy. You do like MMA stuff and stuff.
Like jujitsu and kickboxing. Yeah, I'm injured at the moment, but when I'm healthy, yes.
So I've always been, I'm a sports guy. I've always grown up playing sports. I had a college scholarship to play sports. And, I mean, that's always been a big part of my life. I still go to the gym several times. That makes me sound like an overachiever. A few times a week. And, I mean, it is, man. I wish it was as easy just telling people to take care of themselves and a lot of issues would be solved, but it ain't that easy. People,
I don't think you can.
They have their own. I mean, if people don't want to work out, they don't have to. And that's the greatest part about being in this country. It just sucks for the people that do take care of themselves because then we're paying for their health.
I agree. And you know, like, can't help it, dude. The political thing comes into it. You know, you're being affected by it all the time. I have a feeling there's a person in here that knows you. And I'm going to read their comment, and I'm guessing it's an inside joke, perhaps, or who knows. There's a guy named Thumper Bill, or a gal, I don't know. I guess I can't appropriate gender from a screen name. I want to be, let's stay PC. I mean, I think we're beyond that now, but it says, I bet Adam's favorite capo spots are frets 3 and 4.
Oh God, that's gotta be Bill, my old guitar player.
It is Thumper Bill.
I did capo 3. I don't know what it was. That's where my voice felt real comfortable at. Capo 3 and 4.
I think if I put a capo, I don't even know if I'd know what I was doing. I've never played with a capo in my entire life. I've never even tried it. I'm intimidated by like this stuff. I'm starting to get the hang of it, but I'm not like on a guitar. If I had an amp and pedals and like a tuner and capos and all that going on at the same time, man, I'd probably be too intimidated. I get like technology fear. I think that's part of the reason I like the acoustic singer songwriter thing is like, you know, you plug and play. There's nothing too fancy, but use a capo. It's a new challenge in the comments here. Tune in next week and see if I can play guitar with a capo. I wouldn't even know what to do.
Funny you say that. Like, so I started off just doing, you know, me and my guitar, and that was it. And I still do a lot of just solo shows, but I love playing full band, and it is amazing how much stuff I've learned when it comes to live sound. I mean, we have our own rig that we play all our lights, everything, and it amazes me sometimes when we plug everything together. There's 50 different cables being ran everywhere. There's signals being sent everywhere, and somehow it all works. And it is, man. It's cool to see all the stuff put together and it all works still. It sometimes amazes me.
This is blowing my mind right now. Like I've been trying to really work on the quality of the show and all that type of thing. And you encounter these issues. It's almost like going out and playing shows and like cutting your teeth, because you go out and you have to learn on the fly. And like I'm doing this show, and then I realized that I did a whole episode using the wrong mic, and it didn't sound good. And there's an echo, and it's like, oh, now I have to. And I'm constantly trying to think of ways to improve the quality. Like tonight, I'm experimenting with noise suppression and compressors and all this other crap. It's like I'm just going down the wormhole again because I'm bored, man. I don't have any shows to practice for. I just got done recording, so I'm taking a little break from guitar because I fucked my neck up, and I got a couple more weeks until I'm back. So I'm like just diving into technology, and my wife's like, dude, you're getting super nerdy.
It's so easy to do though, man. It's so easy. Especially if you start getting into like any sort of music production, oh my gosh, the cost can go up. I mean, just
here we go. We've got gear nerds in the house, Adam. We've got gear nerds in the house, and they're asking questions now. Adam, does your band do in-ear monitor setup, or are you guys all live on stage with wedges, amps, and cabs?
So we're kind of split. My drummer is my drummer's actually Dangerous Dan from T95. He was the T95 DJ for many years, and he is as old school as they come. He wears an AC/DC or a Beatles shirt at every single show, and if he doesn't have a wedge, he ain't playing, man. That's the way it is. It's loud as can be, and he has a wedge. My guitar player is the exact same way. He loves having a wedge. He's old school. Me and my bass player, I actually like having a wedge, but I do in-ear monitors a lot just to save my ears. It takes some getting used to. My bass player does in-ears, but we're split. Half of us like wedges, half of us like in-ears.
Another thing I've never used in-ears, again, because of the technology fears. I just show up to the Lizard Lounge and be like, crank it, let's go. I don't want to,
It takes some getting used to.
Do you guys play to a metronome when you play live?
Hell no. That's cheating.
Is your drummer a human?
Yeah. No backing tracks, no nothing like that. And I think we're going. It wasn't Cody Jinks. It was another one of those Texas artists. So there are so many guys. So we've played with a lot of big artists, and they might have 6 people on stage, but they got 10 instruments playing. How the hell is that possible? They got a computer back there that's plugged in and playing. I can't remember who this was, but one of the Texas artists, he was talking about on radio one day, how he's like, I have 5 people in my band. If you listen to my record, there's 5 people playing. He's like, because that's, if you don't do it, then you're being dishonest. You don't want to be dishonest to your fans. So I'm not condoning people that have backing tracks and everything, but I would never do it. I would never put a backing track. If you want to hear what my band sounds like, come out and listen to what my 4 guys can do.
So what about on production? Do you feel like it's okay to go over the top with harmonies and layers and stuff on production for things like, for your content that people are going to be listening to on Spotify? Are you okay with a little bit of added production, or do you still feel like a little bit, you like minimalist there as well?
So, man, some of my songs, so the ones that we push to country radio, the Circus, The World Needs a Beer, and Memories on the Road, we added a lot more to that for the simple fact that I knew I was going to be pushing those to country radio. They would shut that down if I sent them just 4 instruments playing. But even then, everything is us. Like if you listen to The World Needs a Beer, I'm playing that banjo, I'm playing that mandolin. Like we don't hire musicians to come in. It's us playing it. So, and that's another thing that when we go back to what I was saying earlier in our interview, like you can go to Nashville, pay these guys a fortune to get professional musicians to come in, and they're incredible. They're unbelievable. They're great musicians, but it's not you. And that's what you need to do if you want to make it in Nashville. But if you just want to make it as a regional, local artist, then you need to be playing what you want to play. And so that's why I like to play, I'm the one playing it. My guitar player is the one playing the guitar. My bass player is playing bass. I mean, that's the way I think it should be.
It's a weird thing for me because I am a huge fan of really well produced music. Really tight metal arrangements, and they're using a lot of auto-tune, metronome, cleaning tracks up, layering, punching in, sometimes Frankensteining those songs together. But I still love a super glossy production. And like my stuff personally, I don't have a band. I don't have a bass player. I don't have a drummer. I don't have anything. So it's just me. But I don't want, like when I go in, the reason I record with the engineer that I record with, obviously he's awesome, and amazing. But I want to have something well produced, and I don't want it to be just guitar and vocal. And that's what I do. But even then I still, when I'm live, it's just me playing acoustic guitar. Or if like Buana and Shane join me live, it's completely raw. But like I tend to lean towards like super well produced if you can, you know what I mean? But there's some genres where it's appropriate and some genres where it's not too. So I mean, there's so many different ways to skin a cat and do well, Oh,
I agree. And that's going back to like just you and your guitar thing. I do a lot of, like I said, solo acoustic stuff, and there's something so special about, a guy or a girl with his or her guitar. And me and my wife went recently. I played with Ashley McBride a few different times.
Sweet.
And Garth Brooks even said one of the greatest voices in country music is Ashley McBride. And I remember hearing that from him and thinking, man, she's good, but I just haven't seen it. And we went and saw her live with just her and her guitar. Dude, it is incredible what that chick can throw out there. It's awesome. So I've always had a big appreciation for people who can just sit there, play guitar and sing. And I tell people I don't have the voice of an angel. I like entertaining and I like playing music at honky tonks. But there are some people that are, just incredible at sitting down on a stool with a guitar and playing some incredible music. And I really appreciate it.
I always feel like for me, I'm never satisfied with my performance or anything. And I always feel a little bit insecure about my guitar playing just because I've been a singer since I was like 19. So for about 20 years, but I've only been playing guitar for like 5 or 6 years. So I always play guitar with people that are, I play shows with people that have been playing guitar for like 20 years. And like they might go before me and I'm like, how am I supposed to play guitar after that guy? That guy's a freaking monster. It's like, no, dude, you've only been playing for 5 to 6 years. Go up there and do your best. And that's the way it is. And I've learned a lot about playing and all that type of stuff just because I'm putting myself in that situation and putting the pressure on myself. It's like, all right, man, there's a crowd out there now. You have to play this shit and you got to nail it. And it's like, you don't really have a choice. It's made me put a lot more emphasis on being a little bit more well prepared for live shows because the guitar part does not come naturally to me at all.
And see, the guitar part was the side of things that I wasn't worried about when I started playing music. The first show I ever played was in Wichita at Mead's Corner. And I remember playing, I was so nervous. I had the chords in front of me, how to play it and everything. And I don't know why I did. It was more for the words and like guitar. So I'm playing guitar since I was 10 years old.
Oh.
So it's for me, it's more about, man, my voice sounded like shit tonight. I'm never worried about my guitar. Like I feel like I'm a decent guitar player. I'd come home and tell my wife, man, my voice felt good tonight, or my voice felt like shit tonight. I don't think I've ever told her I played terrible tonight.
Really?
Have I ever told you that?
That blows me away, man. I mean, because most of the people I talk to, I'm finding, especially as I play like singer-songwriter showcases and with other people that play a lot of solo acoustic, I seem to always have this conversation with them. I'm like, I'm just so insecure about my guitar playing. They're like, dude, I'm so insecure about my singing. It seems like a majority of the people have been guitar players before and decided to start singing. And it's the opposite for me. And it just makes me wish I wasn't such a lazy ass in my 20s and would have actually picked up a guitar and tried to learn how to play instead of letting other people play. But when I was playing in metal bands, we were playing like, prog metal, and you had dual guitar guys playing sweep arpeggios and shit. Yeah, I don't need to worry about playing. I can't play that stuff. I'm never going to be able to play that.
Yeah, we're
stuff.
Not doing that.
No, like I'll never pull.
Helps me.
But they're like, yeah, there's some people, there's musicians.
In my house, I've got. Go ahead. You go ahead.
No, I was just saying we've got musicians in here and they're kind of chiming in our conversation. So I know you can't see the comments right now. So I wanted to give you some insight as what people are saying. Hugo from Ether, they're a rock band out of Western Kansas. They say they keep it stupid simple in regards to backing tracks. It's usually subtle synths here and there. That's it. They play to a click mainly because they have a program light show. So,
well, and I think isn't that a metal thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard rock metal thing, big time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And they're really good at it. It's really tasteful, and I think it can be done tastefully. I definitely don't think they're a band that has to rely on that to stay where they're at, because I've seen them play acoustic and all that type of stuff. So I think I think a little bit of a balance between it's probably okay. Let's see. I like my music like my weight. No, I'm not gonna say it. Okay. People act like there's going to be some sort of a filter in here. There's never a filter in here. Anything goes. I think it's good to have studio sound and live sound. I don't like it when musicians sound exactly like their studio recordings. Thumper Bill's back. That's why guys like Billy Carr, Cody Morse, bro. Yeah. People are basically just, and they're saying I didn't learn how to play guitar because I was too busy getting in bar fights. So now they're using my asshole 20s against me again. It's a part of my life that I can never put behind me. So what's in the future for you, man? What's coming up? Do you have new music you're working on, or what's your game plan?
So I've got new music. I've got a half album sitting in my back pocket right now that we just haven't put together. What I would say is next for me is we're going to start booking for, when this world turns back around. I cannot wait to get back to work. And, so December and January is when I start booking for my summer. So that's my next step is crossing my fingers and hoping that people are willing to put me back to work starting, in May. So
do you worry about when you're booking those shows that you're going to have to put the effort in to book them, you're going to spend the time to book them, and then you're going to have to spend the time to spend the money to promote them and do all the things that it is to get a draw there, and then have to cancel them again? Or are you booking like cautiously optimistic, just being like, okay, that's a risk going into it, or do you feel like it's all just going to happen? You're going to play them all.
I'll be booking cautiously optimistic, like you said. I mean, I am forever an optimist in the fact that, it's going to happen, man. I cannot see this going on much longer, just for the simple fact that our economy can't take it. So With that in mind, I am booking like it's going to happen. And also because I need it to happen. Like if my music wants to have a chance to make it, if my guys want to stay in my band, I need to start paying them soon. And, I gave them a little leeway till April or May. I said, guys, give me some time. April or May, we're going to start making money again.
Have they been pretty understanding?
Oh yeah. And they have jobs. So, I mean, they get it, but I mean, I always have this fear that they're going to leave and go to another band. And they always tell me, dude, Adam, nobody's playing music.
Yeah.
I know my drummer ain't leaving me.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do, but I'm still sitting here. I've got two new recordings. I've got a mix back on one of them. I don't have the mix back on the other, and I've got to wait for mastering, and I just couldn't get in the studio, man. The guy that I was recording with was busy, and then the COVID thing hit, and he had a young child in the house and some other stuff where he wasn't, and it was just totally respectable thing. But I'm like, man, I'm sitting on all this material, I want to get in and record. So I went in and got some recordings done, but I don't know what my game plan is going to be as far as booking after the new year, man. I kind of want to build this because it's safe. You know what I mean? I can do this on a weekly basis, and it does help me grow, and it gives me an opportunity to meet people like you that I may not have had a chance to sit down one-to-one and talk with otherwise. So it's just been so cool to sit down with people like you and talk and hear their perspectives on what's going on. And like, I'm finding that I'm really starting to like doing this, and I'm wondering like what I can do to take it further now. And I kind of have the drive for this, just like I do with my music, and I'm going to have to figure out a way to balance it so I can do both or get divorced.
Cool. Yeah, I told you early on that the podcast thing, I really dig, man. And I think it's catching on. And if I can help you in any way with this, I would love to, and I'd love to be on a show again later on. But I mean, this is a great thing. I hope you stick with it. And
If you ever have stuff to promote or anything like that, just hit me up, man. I can always fit you in, even if it's not on the regular schedule. We can do a show and put it on Spotify. And if you need to promo or anything like that, you always got a home here. When you're on your promo run, releasing new music, and you need some pub if you need to come on. And I'm going to be growing this show and making it better. So the next time you come on, hopefully it will be better. But I think we had a pretty good time tonight, man. I really appreciate you coming on. Why don't you tell the people listening how they can connect with Adam Capps Music? Okay.
Real simple. If you go to adamcapsmusic.com, you'll find all of our music, all my merchandise, links to all my social media. I've got Facebook and Instagram. I don't get too much further than that right now, but Spotify is always the great place to check out our music. But all those links are available at adamcapsmusic.com, along with my entire schedule. Right now, there's a lot of things that say canceled, but I'm hoping that changes in the future. So just go check that out.
Okay, so the people that are going to be listening to this on after the live broadcast, because we are live broadcasting on Twitch for those of you listening, the people that are listening, it's Adam Capps. It's ADAMCAPPS music.com. So if you want to connect with Adam, hit him up there. All the people that are supporting me on this show, I would appreciate it if you supported Adam too. He's been a good sport about doing this, and I'm stoked to have him on for episode 3. Adam, is there anything else that you want to say to the people out there before we get going?
Just keep in mind that music, guys. Music is one thing that keeps us all together. So as soon as all this shit's over, get out there and support local artists, and just because I don't think people realize what kind of impact music has on society until you lose it. So don't let that happen. Get out there, support the venue, support the musicians.
That is a great way to end the show. Adam, dude, I appreciate you so much. To those of you tuning in, asking questions, commenting, I appreciate you. To those of you listening on Spotify, Apple Music, and all the other platforms, I appreciate you as well. This is Dusty Grant. Episode 3, DG and Friends, is in the books. Adam Capps, thank you so much, man. Have a great rest of your week, and I'm hopefully going to be talking to you and seeing you soon, sir.
Sounds good.
All right, guys, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to the show on your podcast platform of choice to be notified of new episodes, and leave a positive review if you dig what you're hearing. Guys, I would love to hear from you on social media. Let's get connected at DustyGrant57 on all platforms. All right, y'all, that's it for now. See you next time on DG and Friends.
This episode is sponsored by Schwans.com. What are you having for dinner tonight? Good question. Schwans Home Delivery has a solution for you. Stock up your freezer with high-quality frozen foods like premium meats and sides, delicious ready-made meals, ice cream, and more. No subscriptions, no memberships, just a friendly yellow truck that's been delivering food for almost 70 years. Listeners of this show get a special deal. Get 20% off your first order with code YUM20. Check out schwans.com/yum for details.
With Metro and the best deal in wireless, you can rule your day. Get 2 lines with 5G access included for just $35 a month per line, period. With taxes and regulatory fees included every month. All on America's largest 5G network at no extra charge. Metro by T-Mobile, empowering you to rule your day. Requires autopay. First month is $40 per line for 2 lines. 5G access requires capable device. Coverage not available in some areas. See metrobystmobile.com or store for details.